I swore to my family that Christmas that year would be perfect. Impeccable decorations, elaborate dinner, that magical magazine-worthy atmosphere. What I didn't expect was that a frozen turkey, a hyperactive dog, and a short circuit would conspire to transform the most special night of the year into the most memorable chaos in our family's history. The idea of having Christmas at my house came up in October. We were all gathered at my mom's birthday when my brother said, "Man, it would be cool if we did Christmas somewhere different this year. It's always at Mom and Dad's place." My mom looked at him with that expression of "you're going to regret that suggestion," but said nothing. My dad just laughed, knowing exactly where that conversation was going. And I, at the height of my irrational self-confidence, said, "It can be at my place." Silence. Everyone looked at me as if I'd just volunteered to climb Everest in flip-flops. "You?" my sister asked, arching an eyebrow. "You who burned pasta last month?" That was an isolated incident. I defended myself. I can throw an amazing Christmas. Decorations, dinner, everything. My brother gave a skeptical smile. "All right, champ, we're in." And so I sealed my fate. In the following weeks, I dove headfirst into the preparations. But decorations, string lights, garlands, colorful ornaments, a giant inflatable Santa for the yard. Made lists, researched recipes. Watched at least 20 videos on how to make the perfect Christmas dinner. I was determined to prove to everyone that I was capable. The big day finally arrived, December 24th. Woke up at 7 in the morning with a military plan. First mission, decorate the house. Spent the entire morning hanging lights, setting up the tree, spreading ornaments around. Around noon, the living room was transformed. Lights twinkling, imposing tree in the corner, wreath on the door. It looked like a Christmas movie set. "Perfect," I muttered to myself, admiring my work. That's when I heard the doorbell. Opened the door and there was my sister, smiling, holding a leash. On the other end of the leash was Thor, her hyperactive and absolutely uncontrollable golden retriever. "Hi, brought Thor, you don't mind, right? Can't leave him alone on Christmas." I minded a lot. Thor had the energy of 5 dogs combined and the destructive capacity of a small hurricane. But it was Christmas, so what was I going to say? "Sure, no problem." I lied. Thor entered the house like a golden bullet, sniffing everything, tail wagging frantically. Went through the living room, smelled the tree. Almost knocked down an ornament. Thor calmed down. My sister yelled, without much effect. "He'll settle down," she assured, tying the leash to a hook near the kitchen. "He's just excited." Thor did not settle down. But I had more important things to focus on. The dinner. The menu was ambitious. Roast turkey, stuffing, rice, salads, French toast, pies. Had bought the turkey days before, a huge thing, frozen, that had been thawing in the fridge since yesterday, or at least that's what it should have been doing. When I opened the fridge to get the turkey, I noticed a small problem. It was still hard as a rock. Frozen, completely frozen. "No," I whispered, taking the turkey out of the fridge. Weighed the bird in my hands. It felt like a meat brick. No, no, no. Entered controlled panic mode. Turned on the laptop, searched how to thaw turkey fast. The answers ranged from put it in cold water to use the microwave and accept your fate and order pizza. Decided on cold water. Filled the kitchen sink, put the turkey in there, covered it with ice-cold water. According to the internet, it would take a few hours. I had 6 hours until everyone arrived for dinner. There's time, I told myself. There's time. While the turkey thawed, I started preparing the sides, chopping vegetables, making the stuffing, preparing the salads. It was going well. It was under control. I was a Christmas chef. Until Thor decided he was bored. Heard a loud noise coming from the living room, ran there and the Christmas tree was crooked. Thor had gotten tangled in the light wires and, trying to free himself, knocked down half the ornaments. Broken balls on the floor, torn garland. The inflatable Santa in the yard had mysteriously deflated Thor. I shouted. He looked at me, tail wagging, tongue out, completely oblivious to the chaos he'd caused. Spent the next 20 minutes reorganizing the decorations, cleaning up the broken ornaments, trying to save what I could. The tree ended up acceptable, kind of crooked, but standing. Went back to the kitchen, checking the turkey. Still frozen, but less so, progressed it. It was 3 in the afternoon. Family arriving at 7. Still had time, kept cooking. Stuffing turned out great, rice perfect, colorful and appetizing salads. I was starting to feel confident again. 4:30. Time to take the turkey out of the water and put it in the oven. Grab the bird. Dried it, seasoned it. Looked professional. Put it in a huge roasting pan. Shoved it in the preheated oven. According to the recipe, it would take about 3 hours. Perfect. I celebrated. It'll be ready right on time. That's when the lights flickered. Once, twice. Then went out completely. The house plunged into darkness. No, I said to the universe, don't do this to me. Grabbed my phone, used the flashlight, went to the circuit breaker panel. All switched off. The problem was clear. I had overloaded the system with all the Christmas lights, plus the oven, plus all the other appliances. Tried to flip the breakers back on. Some came back. Others didn't specifically. The kitchen one didn't come back. The oven had shut off. The turkey, which was starting to roast, was now in a cold oven. Felt my heart sink. Called my dad. The kitchen breaker blew. The oven shut off. The turkey's raw, silence on the other end. Then how much time is left? 2.5 hours until you all get here. Do you have any electrician friends? No. Electrician neighbor? No either. Then you have 2 options. Call an emergency electrician or improvise. We hung up. I didn't have time for an emergency electrician. And improvisation wasn't my forte, but I had no choice. Remembered that my next-door neighbor, Mrs. Carmen, had a large electric oven. She was nice, always offered help maybe. Ran to her house with the turkey in the roasting pan, still raw, dripping seasonings. Rang the doorbell insistently. She opened, wearing an apron. Smell of cake in the air. Hi, dear. Everything okay? Mrs. Carmen, I gasped, my oven died. Can I use yours? It's a Christmas emergency. She looked at the turkey, then at me, then laughed. Of course, come in, come in. We put the turkey in her oven, set the timer. She offered coffee, said I should just come back in 3 hours to pick it up. You're my salvation, I thanked her, almost crying with relief. Went back home, 6 o'clock. 1 hour until everyone arrived. Still had time to fix everything. Reconfigured the decorations that had survived Thor's attack. Set the table, red tablecloth, candles, folded napkins. Looked festive, looked like Christmas. Until I smelled something strange. Smell of burning. Ran to the kitchen. The stuffing pot, which I'd left on low heat to keep warm, was smoking. The stuffing had stuck to the bottom and was carbonizing. No, I shouted, turning off the heat. The stuffing was ruined. Black, hard, smelling like fireplace ashes. Looked at the clock, 6:40. 20 minutes until my family arrived. No stuffing, no working oven. With a decoration-destroying dog and half-destroyed decorations, took a deep breath. Improvisation mode. Activated. Made express stuffing. Butter, flour, onion, seasonings. Quick, functional, nothing gourmet, but edible. 7 o'clock doorbell rang. My family arrived all together. Parents, siblings, nieces, and nephews. Came in with presents, smiles, that animated Christmas atmosphere. Man, it looks nice. My brother said, looking at the decorations, kind of crooked, but nice. There were some incidents, I admitted. Thor, seeing so many people, went into party mode, jumping, barking, spreading canine joy and a bit of chaos. I'll get the turkey, I announced, running to Mrs. Carmen's house. When I came back, holding the roasting pan with the perfectly golden turkey, steaming, smelling gloriously good, Everyone applauded. "You did it," my mom said, proud. We sat down to eat. The table was full turkey, rice, improvised stuffing, salads. It wasn't perfect, but it was there. We were there. My dad carved the turkey. The meat was succulent, well-seasoned, perfect. "Son," he said, "this is the best turkey I've ever had." It definitely wasn't, but he said it anyway. We ate, laughed, exchanged gifts. Thor stole a piece of turkey from the table and nobody minded much. The Christmas lights, the few that still worked, blinked irregularly, but created a cozy atmosphere. In the middle of dinner, my sister raised her glass. A toast to our host, who faced blackouts, crazy dogs, and carbonized stuffing to give us this Christmas. Everyone laughed, me too. Next year, my brother said, "We do it at Mom and Dad's again." "Totally agree," I replied. But the truth, it was the best Christmas we'd ever had. Not because of the perfection, but precisely because of the chaos. Because in the middle of the surprises, the culinary disasters, and the destroyed decorations, we were together, and Thor. Thor spent the entire night lying under the table, hoping someone would drop more food. When everyone left late at night, I collapsed on the couch, exhausted but happy. The house was a mess. Dirty dishes piled up. Crooked decorations. The kitchen breaker still blown, but it had been perfect. In the most imperfect way possible. And when Mrs. Carmen showed up the next day to return the roasting pan, she smiled and said, "Next year you can use my oven again. But invite us too, okay?" Apparently, the party's good. I laughed, promised I would, and closed the door. Christmas. The time of year when the important thing isn't that everything goes right. It's that when everything goes wrong, you have the right people by your side to laugh together. And maybe a backup oven. Definitely a backup oven.
Thanks for listening. If you want to hear more from my side of the tale, subscribe and stay close.